If you walked into the Tanaka estate that winter morning, the first thing you'd notice was the silence. Not the peaceful kind. The heavy kind. The kind that says, be perfect, or be gone. Marble floors. Gold-framed calligraphy. Cold eyes of rich people who never had to ask twice. In the center of it all sat a boy in a dark kimono, shoulders stiff, eyes down. His name was Kaito Tanaka, only son of Hiroshi Tanaka, the Japanese billionaire who owned hotels from Tokyo to Dubai. Everyone thought Kaito was strange. He didn't laugh when the other rich kids laughed. He didn't talk to the tutors his father hired. He spoke, but nobody understood him. His own father said in a low voice once, if he cannot communicate, he cannot lead. So, they started blaming him. The head butler rolled his eyes. The private teacher whispered, maybe he's slow. The other staff avoided him. Some even bullied him quietly, moving his toys, pretending not to hear him, calling him the broken prince behind his back. Kaito heard. He just didn't react. Because Kaito spoke in a way nobody in that mansion bothered to learn. Then, one day, a new maid walked in. Poor uniform. Cheap shoes. Nervous smile. Her name was Emma. Everyone thought she'd last 2 days. What could a girl from nothing do in a billionaire's world? But when Kaito spoke, that same string of sounds everyone dismissed, Emma froze. Her eyes widened. She understood him. And when she replied, fluently, fully, gently, the entire room stopped. Even the billionaire. Because what Kaito had been saying all this time was nothing anyone expected. And what Emma answered would change the whole house. Again, the tutor said in English, tapping the tablet. Say it properly, Kaito. Good morning. Kaito's fingers tightened on his sleeves. He lifted his head slowly. He whispered. Then, softer, he added another sentence. Fast, musical, from somewhere else. The tutor sighed loudly. This is what I mean, Mr. Tanaka. He drifts. He mixes languages. I can't work like this. From behind the glass wall, Hiroshi Tanaka watched, jaw clenched, suit perfect. My son will run a global company, he said. He must speak so people understand him. But he doesn't want to, the tutor said. Or maybe he can't. He will, Hiroshi said, final. The tutor left. Another staff failed. Another person who didn't try to listen. Kaito stayed in the room alone. He looked at the window, at the koi pond outside, at the gardeners in their uniforms. He said something again, fast, rhythmic, like a secret code. Tiiatin ka, nagugatame ke. No one answered. In the hallway, 2 maids passed by. Why doesn't he just talk like normal? Because rich kids are spoiled. He's not spoiled. He's weird. I heard Madame Saori cried once. She said something is wrong with him. No, what's wrong is he has everything and still acts broken. They laughed. Kaito heard every word through the open door. He wasn't dumb. He wasn't broken. He just spoke what his mother used to speak before she died, a mix of Japanese, English, and the Filipino Ilocano phrases of the nanny who raised him his first 3 years. Everyone thought it was nonsense. To Kaito, it was home. But after his mother's death, Hiroshi fired the old nanny. So Kaito was left with a language no one in the mansion understood. So he stopped trying. At dinner, Hiroshi sat at the long table. Crystal. Silent staff. Kaito beside him, small, straight-backed. School called, Hiroshi said. You didn't talk today either. Kaito said something, eyes low. Kunges I mama, nandito pa. What? Hiroshi snapped. Japanese or English, Kaito. Kaito's throat closed. He stared at his rice. Hiroshi exhaled. You make it hard for people to help you. Did it ever cross his mind that maybe people just had to listen differently? That night, the head butler whispered to the staff, new maid arrives tomorrow. Poor background. Speak formal Japanese. Don't let her near the boy. He's complicated. But life doesn't ask butlers before doing miracles. Because the girl they hired was exactly who the boy had been crying for. What happens when the poorest person in the room is the only one who understands the richest child? Emma stood at the gate clutching her small bag. The Tanaka mansion rose like a palace. Wood, stone, ponds, guards. She had cleaned apartments before. This was different. This was money. Name? The guard asked. Emma Rivera, sir. You speak Japanese? Yes, sir. And English. And a little Ilocano, she said shyly. He raised a brow. Ilocano. My grandmother, she smiled. We mixed languages at home. Inside, the other maids scanned her. Cheap shoes. Repaired stitching. Not one designer thing. New girl. Provincial. She will mop only. Don't touch the master's son. Emma bowed anyway. I will do my best. They assigned her to the lower wing, laundry, kitchen support, terrace. You are not to interact with Master Kaito unless asked, the head butler said. He is delicate. Delicate. Emma repeated. He doesn't talk right. He makes up things. We don't encourage it. Just be invisible. Rich people like clean things, not complicated things. Emma swallowed. She needed this job. Her father was sick back home. Tokyo was expensive. She couldn't afford attitude. But fate didn't care about staff rules. By noon, Emma was carrying a tray of fresh fruit through the corridor when she heard it. A small, frustrated voice from the piano room. Kadwa, son yo met mawatan. Emma stopped. That was Ilocano. Not perfect, but close. Mixed with Japanese. Soft like a child trying to remember someone. She peeked in. Kaito sat on the floor, back to the wall, toys untouched. His eyes were wet, not crying, just tired. He spoke again, faster, like he was talking to a ghost. Emma's heart jumped. He's not nonsense. He's code switching. Kaito-sama, she said gently. He looked up fast, like he'd been caught doing something bad. Sumaseo ka ti Ilocano, she asked softly. His eyes went wide. He stood. Mama used to like this, he said, mixing Japanese and Ilocano, voice shaking. No one hear me. Emma set the tray down. She knelt so she was his height. I hear you, she said, this time in fluent Ilocano, then in soft Japanese, mirroring his pattern. Nararinig kita. Naintindian kita. You're speaking memories, not mistakes. At that moment, two senior maids passed the door, and froze. Is she talking to him? He never replied to us. Call the butler. Inside the room, Kaito stared at Emma like she'd opened a locked door. You understand, he whispered. So, I'm not broken. Emma smiled, eyes watering. No, Kaito. You're multilingual. You're grieving. You're not broken. And that was the sentence. That would shake the whole mansion. But what happens when the billionaire father walks in and sees his son talking to the maid, not to him? Hiroshi Tanaka didn't like surprises. His world was scheduled, polished, profitable. So when the head butler rushed in, Sir, the new maid, your son, he's speaking, Hiroshi stood immediately. He walked to the piano room. From the doorway he saw it, his son, animated, hands moving, eyes shining, with a maid in a low-cost uniform. Kaito was telling Emma, in rapid blended speech, about his mother. About the nanny who used to tell him bedtime stories in Ilocano. About the day his father stopped letting him go to the poor side of town. Emma listened like it was the most important board meeting on earth. Hiroshi's chest tightened. Why doesn't he talk like that to me? He cleared his throat. Everyone straightened. Kaito froze. His shoulders dropped, like someone turned down his volume. Emma, is it? Hiroshi said, voice flat. Yes, Tanaka-sama. She bowed, palms on floor. What are you doing? He asked. I was only responding to Kaito-sama, she said. He spoke. I answered. In what language? In the language he remembers, sir. The senior maids watched, smirking. She's done. Fired on day 1. Hiroshi looked at his son. Kaito. Speak Japanese. Kaito swallowed. Otosan. Then his eyes begged Emma for help. He spoke fast, mixed. He doesn't. He never. Mama used to. Japanese, Kaito. His voice broke. He stared at the floor. Emma couldn't help it. Sir, she said softly. With respect, he is speaking. You're just not listening in the language of his grief. The room went silent. Did a maid just correct a billionaire? Hiroshi's eyes narrowed. Excuse me. Emma's hands shook, but she continued. When kids lose someone, they hold on to whatever sounded like love. For him, it was Japanese and Ilocano and small English words. No one here answered him. So he thought his voice was wrong. He must speak what the world understands, Hiroshi said. But first, Emma said, gently, the world he loves must understand him. Even the butler looked stunned. Hiroshi turned to his son. Why do you speak that way? Kaito's lip trembled. Because that's where Mama lives, he whispered. And for the first time, Hiroshi heard pain, not defiance. But pride is a tall wall. You will continue lessons, Hiroshi said. Emma, you are not permitted to interrupt teachers. Yes, sir, Emma said, eyes down. She fully expected to be fired. Instead, he walked out. Because even a billionaire sometimes needs time to admit, a maid was right. But jealousy was brewing in the staff, and one of them would try to destroy Emma by using Kaito's weird speech against her. Power in rich houses doesn't always come from money. Sometimes it comes from who's been there the longest. Madame Evelyn, the senior housekeeper, had been in the Tanaka estate for 15 years. She didn't like that a poor new maid had just made the master pause. She is showing off, Evelyn whispered to the others. She made the boy talk, another said. He always could talk, Evelyn snapped. He just doesn't respect his elders. The staff began to split, old versus new, rich in position versus poor in position. Some maids from the Philippines actually smiled at Emma. Good job. The boy needed that. But the Japanese senior staff? They felt threatened. One afternoon, while Emma was folding sheets, Evelyn strode in. You came here to clean, Evelyn said. Not to act like a tutor. I only replied to him, ma'am. You are poor. Remember that. Emma bit her tongue. Yes, ma'am. But behind them, Kaito had heard everything. That night, at dinner, Kaito pushed his plate away. He said something in blended speech, Diak kayat no, janagabas yo and I Emma. The butler snorted. See. Rude. What did he say? Hiroshi asked. No one answered. Emma from the side whispered, he said he doesn't like it when you treat Emma badly. Every eye turned. Hiroshi stared at his son. You defended her? Kaito nodded, eyes fierce. She, understand. You, no. That cut Hiroshi deeper than he let show. Evelyn acted fast. The next morning, she went to Hiroshi. Sir, the new maid is teaching him wrong. She's making him stubborn. And she speaks street dialects. Not proper. Street dialects. Hiroshi repeated. Yes. Poor people language. Do you want the heir of Tanaka hotels to talk like that? Emma heard about it from another maid and her chest sank. Of course. Rich versus poor. Again. She'd seen it all her life, the belief that poor people's languages were dirty, low, uneducated. That evening, Kaito ran to her secretly. Emma, you leave? She knelt. Maybe. If they don't want me here. Tears welled in his eyes. No. You're my voice. Have you ever seen a rich child panic because the only person who understood him was the lowest-ranked employee? Emma hugged him. Listen. Even if I go, your words are not wrong. You hear me? Say it. My words, not wrong. Again. My words, not wrong. Evelyn watched from the corner. Her plan was almost complete. She told the cook to accidentally blame Emma for a mistake. She told the driver Emma had been too friendly. She told the butler Emma spoke back. By morning, the story in the mansion was, the poor maid disrespected the billionaire. So how did this end with the billionaire himself getting shocked in front of everyone by what Emma replied? The confrontation happened in the main hall. Polished floor, hanging lights, staff lined up. Hiroshi stood in front, cold and unreadable. Emma stood opposite, hands folded, lower than everyone. Kaito clung to the side door, watching, eyes wide. Emma, Hiroshi began, I was told you overstepped. You interfered with staff order. You spoke to me as if you knew my son better than I do. Emma stayed calm. Sir, I only listened. Evelyn stepped forward. Sir, she is filling his head with poor people's words. A murmur. A few nods. Hiroshi looked around. Is that so? You all think this. Most of them agreed. That's how bullying works, rich in rank, poor in heart. Kaito suddenly ran forward. No. Emma good. She. Kaito, Hiroshi said sharply. Kaito froze, trembling, hands fisting. And then it happened. The moment no one expected. Kaito looked like he was about to shut down, go quiet, like he always did. But Emma stepped between him and the crowd. Not to challenge the billionaire, but to explain him. She faced Hiroshi. Her voice was respectful, but strong. Tanaka-sama, she said, this time in fluent, proper Japanese so everyone heard clearly, may I say something? Hiroshi narrowed his eyes. Speak. Emma took a breath. Your son has been begging for connection since the day his mother died, she said. He spoke the language of the last person who made him feel safe. None of us, including me, deserved that. But he kept trying. And every time he did, someone told him, that's wrong. That's poor. That's messy. She switched to crisp Ilocano, then to English, then back to Japanese, exactly like Kaito. In his mind, she said, love sounds like this. Mixed. Warm. Human. You all called it broken. But it was fluent in loss. Silence. Then she said the line that shocked them all, the one Kaito would remember forever. If the richest house in Tokyo cannot learn the language of its own child, then it is not your son who is poor, it is this house. The staff gasped. Even Evelyn stepped back. Hiroshi stared at her. No one had ever called his house poor. Emma bowed low. Fire me if I overstepped. But please, don't silence him again. Let him keep his mother's words. Later, we can add English. We can add business Japanese. We can add French. He is smart, sir. But right now, he just wants to keep the sound of his mother alive. Hiroshi's eyes moved to his son. Kaito was crying silently. Otosan, he whispered, mixing again. Diak kayat na, malipitan ni mama. I don't want to forget mama. And in that moment, the billionaire finally understood. His son wasn't refusing to learn. He was refusing to lose. Slowly, Hiroshi looked at Emma. You will not be fired, he said. Then to the staff, from now on, if my son speaks, you answer. In whatever language you can. We will hire a multilingual therapist. We will meet him where he is. The staff bowed. Evelyn's face burned. Kaito ran to Emma and hugged her. Thank you, thank you. Emma smiled. Your words were never wrong, Kaito. People were just lazy. Hiroshi watched them, the billionaire and the maid, rich and poor, meeting in the middle through language. And maybe, for the first time since his wife died, he felt the house warm again. If a child speaks in the language of their pain and we ignore it because it's not proper, who is really uneducated, the child, or the adults who refuse to listen? Tell me in the comments. Backhand index pointing down.